Hello and welcome to the Ring Ramble podcast. My name is Brad.
And I'm V. And there's a lot that's happened this week, especially regarding storylines, so I'll try to simplify the story development from this week as best as I possibly can, especially since a lot of these stories have a connection to the upcoming pay-per-view, that being the Bash in Berlin. So we'll start off with Raw August 12th edition. Rhea begins the show by making an appearance to the ring to speak about what she has been thinking about since SummerSlam and all that has happened with her loss and Dominic essentially cheating on her. The emotions she felt as she described them were embarrassment, heartbreak, and being pissed off. She said to Dominic, or she spoke directly to Dominic through the screen, about how he stabbed her in the back and suggested that he hears it often, that it just wasn't deep enough. I didn't say that at all correctly, but yeah, basically she said that because he stabbed her in the back, it just wasn't deep enough, as something that she insinuated he hears a lot. She speaks briefly about Liv, and that she would get what's coming to her before being interrupted by both Dom and Liv in the audience. Liv allows Dom to speak, and Dom confesses to Rhea the reason why he left her for Liv, which is because Liv treats him like a man, with respect for the man that he is, not being bullied around, and she gives him tendies when he wants them and lets him play video games, and finally helped him beat his deadbeat dad, Rey Mysterio. Rhea responds and said that if it makes him feel better, she is proud of his accomplishments, and that these last couple of years, and that one of her biggest accomplishments was watching him become the man that he is. As for beating Rey Mysterio, Rhea suggested she didn't help him because she believed he was capable of beating him himself. Liv interrupts and tells Rhea that the family she loves, the man she loves, and the title she loves is all hers now. Rhea tells Liv she may have gotten all that, but Rhea is still standing, and as long as she stands, she still has the upper hand. Damian appears behind Dom and Liv. Rhea chases towards Liv, and they brawl for a bit. Damian and Dom head towards the ring, and Carlito saves Dom, which opens up to Carlito versus Damian Priest. This match ended pretty quick. It was a match. JD attacked Damian, which was followed by Finn, Dom, and Liv. Rhea came back to help Damian. Damian gave JD a South of Heaven. Rhea and Damian hug again. While Damian was caught... Damian and Rhea were
Liv
hugging.
were in their embrace.
Yeah, Damian caught Dom and handed him to Rhea, which she attempted a riptide, which was foiled by Liv, who saved Dom, and they both ran away. I know you have some thoughts about Damian Priest and,
I still don't like the angle of the fact that they're like, they're good. I don't like the idea of Rhea being kind of like the baby face at the moment. And I have this really strong, thought that I feel like they're going to have them become like some sort of an item or something.
I hope not.
I hope not. I mean,
they're more like brother and sister.
Yes, they definitely are more like a brother and sister. It just seems weird. I don't know. I just don't know about this whole Damian Priest and Rhea babyface angle. I just don't see it working. It just seems weird. But I mean, I don't know how they spin it. I guess it's a possibility that they can make it something. Right now it seems kind of forced. It doesn't seem like it's very genuine, or it's not an easy transition for this. And
you were talking about their style too, right?
I mean, I think it's honestly, if you're gonna freaking dress in this black skull crossbones kind of evil persona, I don't think you can be a babyface at the same time.
Wasn't the American Badass a babyface or no?
Who?
The Undertaker.
No, because he was. He's still kind of look, when he was the Ministry of Darkness and he was the actual Undertaker, all that stuff, he was just kind of like an anti-hero. There's a difference. There's a line between an anti-hero and you could be that kind of character, but as long as it kind of comes across as you're still kind of not good, you're not bad, but you're just kind of like that anti-hero thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily see that Damian Priest fulfills that, and I don't think Rhea does either.
I think Rhea does. That's just me. Damian Priest not so much, but I think Rhea has a better transition. There's more impact to her story than Damian. I mean, he just lost the family and the title, I guess, but Rhea lost the title. She lost her family and she lost her boyfriend too, and now it's just them two stuck together. I feel like she just has a better...
I guess maybe I'm just biased because the fact is I'm not really out of the Judgment Day. I'm not a big fan of Damian Priest or Rhea either, either one of them. So maybe that's just me being biased. But, you know, again, like, you know, this is the thing is like about storylines. These things develop and they start to evolve. And then, you know, it can make it something that makes it better. As of right now, though, I'm not interested really at this moment. But that can change.
All right. The Wyatt 6 VHS, another one. Bo Dallas talked about the many emotions he felt last week in the Wyatt 6 debut match and that the location was the same as the Wyatt family debut 11 years ago, suggesting that something big is to come and then repeatedly yelling, "My life for you," with Uncle Howdy replying, "There you are," and the tape finishing. I don't really like the tapes. I think they're kind of like whatever. Like, there's a huge difference between the Wyatt family and the Wyatt 6. When it came to, like, I guess I feel the authenticity more so with the Wyatt family and those tapes that they had. I just felt like it was just more, I could take it seriously a little bit more. This one, it felt a little bit silly. Like, it kind of felt to me, I don't know how many people are youngins like me, but it felt a lot like kind of like anomaly horror. What's the name of the anomaly horror? Like, What's it called? It's like those. It's a style with these audio tapes. It's like a horror style where they'll have like audio tapes and like someone's like turning into a monster or someone hears something and stuff like that. That's the kind of vibe that it's giving me. Where it's a little bit cheesy because a lot of the people that make those kinds of things are analog horror. That's the name. Like analog.
But I mean,
stuff.
I actually like the VHS thing because we're paying homage to an old school classic. I mean, in a world that's like DVDs and streaming.
But where are you going with that though? That has nothing to do with the content.
I like the idea that it's a tape.
Oh, I mean,
it's
sure.
like I think the thing is like it kind of going in that direction, but I just don't know if it really transitions well.
No, I don't. I
find it kind of like
sense.
A little bit like repetitive. Like a different video each time, but it like kind of seems like each video is the same.
Yeah, it's hard to explain to someone that does like the Wyatt 6 why we don't like it, because it like we're on one hand we're saying like, you know, the Wyatt family was great, and they also did the same thing. I don't know. There's just something about it, I guess. Maybe it's Bo Dallas to me. I like Bo Dallas back when he, you know, Bo Leave,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of transition.
To see it, yeah.
It's a hard transition.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Drew McIntyre shows up to Adam Pearce's office wondering why Randy is here on Raw, getting a title shot against Gunther. Drew acknowledges what happened at the King of the Ring, but that is irrelevant, claiming that today he will take care of things and go and do Adam's job. Adam is afraid because the last man to say that was Bronson Reed, who put Seth out of action, and Drew assured him that would not be the case. Well, we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that fireworks?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Pete Dunne is seen in an interview claiming that Sheamus held him down. He hates the name given to him by Sheamus, that being Butch. I agree too. And he didn't see himself as under the wing of Sheamus, but rather felt demeaned in his time in the Brawling Brutes. I agree.
Agreed.
I remember when we first saw Butch, I was kind of like, why doesn't he just use Pete Dunne? Like, why did they make this whole switch up? I totally get it. And also, like, if you watch his time in NXT currently, all that kind of stuff with that resentment and like that kind of going on your own and being your own man kind of thing really resonates with both shows.
Exactly.
Like his character is making sense.
It
more.
does. It's definitely a good trend. It's definitely a good look for him at the moment. And I think him as a singles guy. I mean, yeah, dude. Him and what's the guy's name?
Who?
His tag team, the tag team that Pete Dunne was in.
Tyler Bate?
Yeah, dude. Like that was
the New Catch Republic?
Yeah, that was actually it was good.
It was good.
It was
and
good.
Then, you know, now he's evil.
But
so.
I like the fact that Pete Dunne is going back to just being like what he was in NXT, and just being like a straight up like just a fighter. It's good. It doesn't need to have like a gimmick. Doesn't need to be catchy like Sheamus has.
Right.
Sheamus has like a very kind of like little catchy little thing going on. Pete Dunne's just a brawler. Yeah.
All right, my favorite part. I've been wanting to talk about this. Damage Control, which is Kairi Sane and Io Sky, versus. Hear this. The Pure Fusion Collective, which is Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, #1 contender qualifier match for a shot at the women's tag team titles. Before we even talk about this match, let's talk about this name. What the heck? I was telling you, The Pure Fusion Collective sounds like a team that Axiom would be in, like some Power Ranger type deal.
I think it's like a
dart was that was a scrapped that was a scrap name that they had for somebody else, and
it is
just gave it to him.
A very odd name for these ladies. No. I don't really see how Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville have that as a name. It makes no sense at all.
It makes no sense.
And apparently a lot of other people on the internet think it's actually a really stupid name too.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's really bad.
Yeah. Well, anyways. Yeah. That terrible name. I don't know why they did that. But the match itself, weird miscommunications between Zoe and Shayna. Zoe was meant to hit, who was it? I think like their opponent. I don't know who it was exactly, but was meant to hit her head, and Shayna just released her like really late, and it just looked very awkward.
Yeah, there was a lot of sloppiness going on in that match.
Yeah, and it was just really confusing. And then Zoe Stark accidentally hit or kicked Alba Fire in the head. And the match continued, and Io was about to win, and then this was even more confusing. The whole Unholy Union stopped the match and beat up both tag teams.
Yeah, they sat there and were watching the match, and they decided to just go and attack everybody, which made no sense because I guess
they were at ringside.
At the end of the day, that match was supposed to be whoever won
but now it's a triple
was the
threat.
number one contender, and it was like they decided that, heck, we can't do that. We might as well have a triple threat because, I mean, heaven forbid both of them are going. You have to have it add someone else to it.
Dude, it was confusing.
It was a mess.
All right. Next, Randy Orton speaks in the ring about his career, which was swiftly interrupted by Gunther, who commended Randy for his successes. However, he told Randy that his talent was wasted, and that was because it is now an entirely new era, and there's no room for those who choose to waste their potential. Randy says that he never claimed to be perfect, but he was also one of the most successful and the most vicious in the business, who also is a 14-time, soon-to-be, he says, 15-time champion. I don't agree. That losing streak is going to continue. Sorry, Randy. Yeah. Gunther replies, informing him that at Bash in Berlin, he would give Randy the beating of a lifetime, so much so that Randy would never be champ again, and followed up by telling Randy that his grandfather and father were screw-ups. Drew music plays, and as he attempts to make his way to the ring, Randy RKO's Gunther, and Drew was stopped by Punk. Punk attacked Drew and held the upper hand for like the most part, and used Drew's own belt to whip him, and they left the arena.
And remember that CM Punk was not in the building.
We'll get to that in a second. Now, Sheamus, he shared his reaction to what Pete Dunne had said in an interview, saying that he's confused as to what Pete's beef is with him. Ludwig interrupts to tell Sheamus that it's not over between them, and Pete Dunne attacks Sheamus, and Ludwig allows it to happen. He literally put his hands up like,
right, hey. Not my business.
And then both men were separated, which I'm like, Sheamus, he gave like the most valid reasons of all time to like hate you.
Yeah, he wasn't wrong.
And suddenly he's just like, I don't see it. All right, now this is what we're going to talk about here. CM Punk was seen backstage with Gunther storming off angrily behind. Punk confessed that he lied about having a flight delay to catch Drew off guard, and that Drew keeping that bracelet doesn't matter. Like that he has the bracelet itself, but simply the context of having the names of his wife and dog. That's what matters to him, which I'm like, that was a given. You didn't have to tell us that. That was pretty much obvious.
Right.
And he finishes up by suggesting that he has an idea that will make everybody happy, which you said was like some belt match thing, right? Or no? You said that in the moment.
I think it might be a strap match, like where they're going to be having the strap. I think it's going to be something like that. Something like that is going to happen because obviously they kind of painted it when he was whipping him with the belt, so it's going to be something like that.
All right. Next. There's so much to talk about. That's why I'm like moving quick. Miz heads to the ring with R-Truth by ringside, and it's Miz versus Bronson Reed. Miz was able to match up against Bronson for a short while, but one tsunami to Miz, and that was basically it. And Bronson Reed wins. R-Truth asks if Miz was okay, and Truth gets splashed on by Bronson. Bronson continues to go to the ropes a good 4 times, while the security begs him to leave and spare Truth. Also helping Miz leave as well. He gives about 2 more tsunamis, a total of 6. And GM Adam asked him, like, what's wrong with you? And Bronson replied, I do what I want.
Amazing.
Actually, and R-Truth claims in an update that following the attack by Bronson Reed, he is suffering from cracked ribs and internal bruising, which work or not, it would make sense.
It would make sense.
Okay, Judgment Day promo. Finn says that the new Judgment Day is improved without any leaders.
Or ego.
Rhea and Damien, who claim to be leaders at some point. Dominic calls them the Terror Twins, comparing that no couple in the WWE nor the world are as great as he and Liv, and that Bash in Berlin, they will prove that. And Finn tells Damien to watch out, because he said Backstabber Balor is about. It was some bar. It was some bar. He said. All right. Finally, main event. 2 out of 3 falls match for the Intercontinental Championship between Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn. Braun had a little intro asking Pat McAfee if there was any dogs barking in Austin, Texas. I just felt like I needed to say that because it was just interesting to see this backup, like those backstage like intros kind of thing. Like they've been doing more of that.
They have been doing that a lot.
And I understood it with like Kevin and Sammy and like DIY and stuff, but like I didn't expect them to do Braun Breaker. Braun. Well, Sami Zayn, he won the first fall using the haluva kick. Breaker catched Sammy during a flip, saved his life, honestly, and runs and throws him into Samantha Irving's announce chair while simultaneously hitting the camera with his legs. We'll get to the other one. I know you're ready. Braun wins the second fall using 2 spears. Sammy also hit his head on the camera while making his way dazed towards the commentator desk. Dude,
I don't understand these angles with these cameramen they're like pretty much in the way. Yeah. It's like some of the times, and it's just like, I mean, I understand you want us to have as close to the action as possible, but at the same time, it's like, good Lord. Yeah, like Sami Zayn got like you can just see him go bump, bumps his head on the camera. Yeah, it's nuts. But like, let's keep track of that spear tally though, because that was 2 spears. Yeah. On the second match. So let's see how many was there in the third. Let's see.
The third, Sammy was able to break the count of 9 nearly at 10 when he got clotheslined onto the commentator's desk just after hitting his head on the camera.
Right.
Sammy attempts a sunset flip powerbomb, but Braun kicks out. Sammy prepared to do like the splash thing, but Braun Breaker does a nasty spear to him midway, and Sammy came down. Kind of homage to the Carmelo versus Braun at Battleground 2023, in my opinion. And that concludes the show. Braun Breaker retains. Matches not mentioned. Odyssey Jones defending against Vincent Winey. I was like, who is this?
I don't know why we keep ducking. I don't know why we keep ducking Odyssey Jones, dude. Like that guy needs to be on the main. That guy needs to be on TV, dude. He needs to be on TV, dude.
The Creed brothers defend against Otis and Akira Tozawa, where Ivy Nell attacked Maxine Dupree to cement her place in the newly made faction. That also would have been important to know. Because that leads really into a match with her and the lady from the Wyatt Six. Oh, you're talking about Nikki Cross. Yes. Oh, yeah. True.
Kind of leads into it.
All right. Next week's match card includes Sheamus versus Pete Dunne.
That should be good.
A triple threat match for the Women's Tag Team Championships between the Unholy Union, Alba Fire, and Isla Dawn versus the Pure Fusion Collective. Oh, wow. It's hilarious. Damage Control.
I hope Pure Fusion Collective wins.
Dude. Okay.
With a name like that.
And lastly, the New Day and Odyssey Jones versus the Final Testament. Hurrah. This is exactly what I asked for when I said I wanted Karrion Kross to do better things.
I'm kind of hoping this is televised.
Okay. All right, moving on. NXT August 13th edition. Yay. Wesley was interviewed about why he chose to portray the Rascals last week. He replied looking at Ethan Page's NXT Championship and said, "That's mine."
Oh. Well, at least he's not going from the North American title.
God forbid.
Yeah. I mean, at least he's leveled up, so that's cool.
He realized it existed.
Yeah.
Ethan Page goes to the ring. Okay. Prior to that, Ethan Page interrupts Wes and heads toward the ring to announce the NXT Universe about his victory over Ora Menta last week at the Great American Bash. He claims that the era of ego continues and that no one can take this title off of him. Suddenly, Joe Hendry's music plays and he appears to confront Ethan. Ethan tells Joe to get out of here and go back to TNA and that he's not even sure why Joe Hendry is here. Hendry replies telling Ethan that he is here for the exact same reason Ethan was, and that is for the NXT Championship. Ethan acknowledges that everyone may believe in Joe, but he doesn't, and he hates his theme song. And Ethan claims, I know how.
Slinging mud like that.
And Ethan claims that when they match up, he will expose Joe Hendry for being the flash in the pan. Joe says he's got legends like Booker T and Kurt Angle by his side, but also worked very hard to get here. And when he wins, he will take the championship to London and Paris and Tokyo. And transition to his song, as I did. Ethan walks away from the ring, and Wesley attacks Joe Hendry from behind, and the crowd boo him profusely, as they should. And Ethan laughs. We already didn't like Wesley. He did that.
I mean, you basically just made yourself more of a
the
heel.
Worst.
I mean, Wesley definitely he pretty much increased his heel right there. Which, good for him though, because I mean that at the end of the day, that's what matters here.
All right, General Manager Ava states that next week's NXT will hold a 6-woman gauntlet match for a title shot at the No Mercy pay-per-view. Whoever wins the match will face Roxanne Perez for the women's NXT championship. The first to be picked at random was Ren Sinclair, Adriana Rizzo, and Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca for the win. That's all I have to say.
It's anybody on that, and that I have no idea.
All right, well, let's continue on. Charlie Dempsey versus Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo is the holder of the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. This is for the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. For those who don't know, the NXT Heritage Cup Championship matches go a certain way. I think it's a 3-minute time limit per round, or 5 minute?
No, it's 3 or 2.
No, I think it's
3 minutes.
It's
3 minutes.
5.
It's
Is
3.
It not?
No, it's not 5.
Why are we even in the?
It's not even 5. It's like 3 minutes.
Okay. Anyways, it's timed, and so like you have to get a fall by the end of it, but sometimes you don't.
Right. It's 5 rounds, 3 minutes.
It's not 5 rounds, dude. It's whoever gets the 3 point or the point, whatever. Anyways, we're not even in the position to even say this. Don't listen to us. Anyways, both men are grapplers, both Tony D'Angelo and Charlie Dempsey, and they're very technical as well. And Tony gave a fisherman suplex / neck breaker for the first point during round 2. Ren Sinclair was on the side of Charlie Dempsey and slapped him and told him to wake up before round 3 started. Charlie does a roll-up bridge and gets his own point. There is now a tie. And at round 5, Tony and Charlie were at the top of the turnbuckle. While the ref was distracted, Ren Sinclair grabbed Tony's leg, causing him to fall. And Charlie does his, I'm assuming his finisher, which was like a modified butterfly suplex / bridging German suplex.
That's his move.
And he wins the Heritage Cup. He was the previous owner to Tony D'Angelo, so him winning it back makes sense. Good match, though.
It was a good match.
Next round of the draw for the women's gauntlet match next week were Jada Parker, Kendall Gray, and Carmen Petrovic. Izzy Dame, which is also Braun Breaker's girlfriend, was angry and said she was the most deserving of being in this match.
Yet she hasn't wrestled.
She has, but we don't see it on our
thing. Hence what I'm saying.
All right, next. Wesley enters the ring to speak on last week. He believed that he would have won the NXT Tag Team titles, claiming that Zack let him down. But that this letdown would not be the first. The first happened 2 years ago when MSK lost the titles and died out, and everyone felt sad for Zack but felt sorry for Wes. He claims that it had to have been abandoned by Trey and Zack when they left NXT for TNA. Wes said that when they got together as a team, he was a caretaker burdened by their behavior, and at No Mercy, they will have to face soon. And when they do, Wes claims that he will teach Zack a lesson, and Wes has his eyes on the NXT Championship. Pete Dunne then interrupts to tell Wes that he too is looking at the NXT Championship. Then Joe Hendry appears to attack both men.
It's going to be an excellent triple threat match.
That is going to be very epic. In a mini segment, Axiom and Nathan Frazier talk about their match against Chase U tonight and that they are confident that they will win. And next one, Tony D'Angelo is interviewed about his loss, which was soon interrupted by Obafemi announcing his open challenge has been accepted by Otis from the Alpha Academy, who he will face soon. And then just before that match, Chase U talk, and Rich Holland says he'll do anything and everything to get Chase U those tag team titles against Axiom and Nathan Frazier. So, Otis versus Obafemi. Obafemi is the holder of the North American Championship. This was a match for the North American Championship. Slow match, because both men are fairly big, and they hit very hard hitting, honestly. everything kind of quickened up after Obafemi hit Akira Tozawa, another member of the Alpha Academy.
That really made Otis rage out.
Yeah, Otis became angry. He honestly looked like he was gonna get Oba for a good majority of the match.
He was putting him down.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I think it was like, out of all the matches that Obafemi's had, this was a match where he was kind of like being dominated.
Well, yeah, it's not often that he gets opponents that are big him or bigger than him. But yeah, Otis got him. Oh, I totally wrote that wrong. Well, anyways, Oba got him
in a powerbomb position when he was on top of the rope,
and he retained the North American Championship. It was a very short match, honestly. And General Manager Abra announces that next week's matches, one of which being the women's gauntlet, Roxanne Perez comments on how the gauntlet is cute and that she was in one herself that she claimed to have dominated. Which I'm like, okay, I get it. She's trying to do this ego thing ever since she said that I never lost the title and all this kind of stuff. But like now, it's just like she has to comment on every single thing. I'm like, girl, just.
Yeah, she's kind of past the threshold of whining, basically.
Yeah, just let
it be. You know, that's what's like kind of on the card here for you, being a champ.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the main event of NXT was Axiom and Nathan Frazier, who are the holders of the tag team championships, versus Chase University, which is Andre Chase and this time Ridge Holland instead of Duke Hudson. Chase U did a nasty backstabber on Nathan Frazier. The match flow was really good.
It was a great match.
Rich Holland helped Chase U get the win using a clothesline and this strange DDT combo that I could not figure out what the name of it was. But it was a really good finish. It
was a good match.
I'm sad, because, Chase U are the new tag team champions and not Axiom and Nathan Frazier. But I'm honestly not that mad because of how well the match was.
I think this is kind of the time that Axiom and Nathan Frazier are going to be breaking up their team and kind of moving into different directions.
I hope not, but that's probably likely.
That's probably most likely.
Because they already had tension and
Pretty
stuff
much.
on promos and stuff. All right, matches not mentioned. Oh my God, that Lexis King beat Eddie Thorne.
I thought that was actually going to be there. I was actually prepared.
Lola Vice defended against Tatum Paxley, where Wendy Chu attacked Kalani during the match.
So I actually have to ask a really quick question. What happened to Lola Vice here, dude? Because once she on
like a
everything,
main eventer, and now
everything is all not televised. Kind of makes me think
maybe she stopped dancing.
No, I doubt that. Maybe she's dancing more. Maybe it might have been her last promo.
Oh, the one where she's crying.
Yes.
I'm gonna win the championship.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much kind of the end of that.
And lastly, Izzy Dame, she wrestled versus Brinley Reese, and I think she won. So, she won. I didn't put that though, but she won. Now, next week's match card for NXT include Lola Vice versus Wendy Chu.
Can't wait.
the OC Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Hank and Tank. Which is Hank Walker and
another barn burner.
Dude, shut up. 6-woman gauntlet against
that's gonna be cool.
Carmen Petrovic versus Adriana Rizzo versus Ren Sinclair versus Sol Ruca versus Jada Parker versus Kendall Gray. Winner faces Roxanne Perez at No Mercy for the NXT Women's Championship. And finally, the best one, I think. Triple threat between Joe Hendry versus Wesley versus Pete Dunne. Winner faces Ethan Page at No Mercy for the NXT Championship.
It's going to be very interesting to see who wins that because it really kind of points in a lot of different directions.
It does.
If Joe Hendry is the one that pulls this off, it kind of makes me feel like, oh, poor Trick Williams. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Joe Hendry is the one that's going to have a title shot before freaking Trick Williams. If it's Wes Lee, we just basically know if you cry hard enough, you're going to get a championship. And Pete Dunne is just basically saying to everybody that NXT's current champion and the current state of it is not that good because Pete Dunne has to come in.
Part of me wonders if they're going to pull some trickery because remember the original match against Trick Williams for Heatwave was supposed to be against just Javon Evans, right? And then they made it a fatal four-way. I wonder if they'll do that this time too. I mean, I would like a fatal four-way.
But are you saying adding Trick Williams to it?
That Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry versus Wesley versus Pete Dunne. That would be
no. I think if anything, it's that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna do something to have a championship match, maybe Trick Williams should be thrown in.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with what you were saying that Dave Meltzer was saying that they really need to push Trick instead of pushing Joe. Per se, I wouldn't say Joe specifically, but I do feel like Joe Hendry's appearance also had a role in pushing Trick to the side a little bit, somewhat, because I mean he's going for the championship now, and then kind of Trick's not anymore.
I mean, because Trick Williams was not even in NXT at all this last episode.
No.
I mean, and so the thing is, like, that's a guy that was his era. Even though he was the champ and he lost it, he still was a main focus of the entire roster.
True. Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, I hope we see more of him because he's a great wrestler.
He is great.
So hopefully things change soon, at least after the No Mercy. All right, last show of the week, Smackdown, August 16th edition. The show opened up with Tiffany and Pretty Deadly in a decorated ring to introduce the new women's champion, Nia Jax, in her championship celebration. It's pink, by the way, and with unicorn balloons.
Which made no sense.
Yeah, and Nia thought it made no sense. She was weirded out about the pink and told Tiffany that pink's not her style. Her style is destruction.
Which was funny.
And her crown is crazy big. It doesn't even look like it fits her head much. I don't know.
Still outrageous. That's for sure.
It's not styling. And it's not even the original crown from the actual...
I think she just had her own rendition of it,
I guess so. To make it look evil or something.
Yeah, I guess.
Nia claims that every woman in the locker room should bow down to her, and Nia says it should start with Tiffany bowing to her. Tiffany says Pretty Deadly will sing for Nia, and then they will bow together for her. And Micha randomly came in during Pretty Deadly's performance for Nia. She hit Tiffany and Pretty Deadly with a kendo stick.
First off, there was a lot of mic issues going on with the singing rendition of Pretty Deadly that it wasn't really... It was really off.
Kind of sad.
Yeah, it was really off. It was terrible. The Michin coming in is actually kind of cool to me because I really think they should be pushing her more.
I agree.
I think out of most of the women in SmackDown right now, I think she's probably one of the best wrestlers there is in SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not trying to take away from Bianca. Bianca right now is doing her own thing with the tag team. But Michin coming in, great. We all know, though, that she's not going to win.
No, she won't win.
But still, it was cool.
For sure. Oh, backstage, Bianca, Jade, and Naomi were watching the promo, but moved on to talking about their match versus Alba, Isla, and Blair, which is next week, I believe. They said Naomi will, today, snatch and drag Blair, quote, unquote, and Carmelo came to talk to the girls before they pointed out that he has lost twice to Andrade. Carmelo smiles, acknowledging that at least they watch his matches.
It was something. It was very goofy.
Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes 3. Oversell by Andrade and one more. He got like tapped on the ass by Carmelo and did a whole flip.
The force was amazing. He totally sold that. He sold it really well.
Dude, he did a whole flip onto the apron and then onto the floor.
Yeah.
Not a good match.
No.
Carmelo rolled up for the win. Not
I
a good one.
I think it just kind of burned out and fizzled at the end, and I also feel bad at the fact that Carmelo winning had to be like the worst one out of the 3.
Yeah,
that's kind of sad because Carmelo is doing some good work.
Yeah,
but it's like when Andrade wins, it's really good.
I don't know. They just wasn't there in that match.
No, I mean, what else can you really do though? Because I mean,
because we've seen it like the two
the two matches, and then what they were doing during the Money in the Bank. I mean, it's like what else can you really do?
That's true. That's true. Well, Carmelo was being petty after the win, and Andrade attacked him, which some extra staff came in to separate.
So maybe
both
Bash at Berlin.
Dude, honestly, like ever since that first match,
pretty sure it's kind of pushing because how many matches are there right now currently on Bash at Berlin? 2?
3.
3. Yeah.
I
think pretty much that it's very possible that this is going to be a match then.
Yeah. I mean, ever since I saw that first match between the two of them, not counting the Money in the Bank, but the first one they had just singles, I was like, this pay-per-view material. So
yeah, exactly.
Bad timing to do it now because, this match was just not that great. But hopefully, if they do it, obviously it's as great or better than the matches that they had the previous SmackDowns. So there was a segment between Solo, Sikoa, and Tamatonga. Tamatonga tells Solo when Roman gets into the ring, he will rip Roman apart, which that's not happening. Honey, that's not happening.
Yeah, it's It's kind of funny to hear him say that. But.
Solo says if Roman takes the Ulafalo away from him, then Roman will be the new tribal chief, and Solo will have to acknowledge him only if he takes it away, which was interesting.
It's
for him
very
to
interesting
say.
aspect.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah,
but
totally
it was
cool.
interesting to hear him say that so quick.
Yeah.
After Roman coming back, I mean, obviously he knows he can't.
But how did Solo get it?
What do you mean, how did Solo get it?
How did Solo end up?
Because Roman was gone.
So, I mean, but, like, he's talking about that Solo. So he's saying, like, Roman Reigns has to take it from him. But, see, like, Solo didn't actually take it from him.
Not in a match, per se, but
no,
because he
but
wasn't there to guard the bloodline.
Well, I guess that I guess that kind of emphasizes the idea that he's the fake tribal chief.
Right.
What Cody mentioned.
Yeah, he didn't genuinely
earn it.
Real quick, I mean, Naomi versus Blair Davenport.
It was a real barn burner, I tell you.
Roxette Perez was
banger after banger.
Terrible hurricanrana in there.
It was bad.
Just not good chemistry.
No, it was very sloppy.
Blair won the match.
Won.
Which
apparently a knee to the face is her finisher.
Yeah, that's all it took.
Yeah, who knows?
Not a very good match.
Yeah.
Austin Theory and Grayson were backstage talking about Grayson's match with Kevin Owens. Grayson agrees. Grayson feels like the match would be a breeze. Kevin heard everything just behind him, and Kevin agrees that he is a loser, as Grayson said. And Kevin sarcastically tells Grayson that they should both prove what an easy win it would be over Kevin. Kevin Owens versus Grayson Waller was the next match. Ethan Page, let's go, was at ringside.
It was hilarious.
I have to mention that,
Wasn't also Roxanne Perez showed as well?
I said that already.
Okay.
Good match. Kevin won using the pump-up powerbomb, which was
old.
Move
yeah, old school.
Of his. Austin Theory saved Grayson from getting attacked by Kevin. They both got chairs to attack Kevin before Cody, which you predicted. You're like, yes. Cody might come out,
and he did.
He did. He came out to save Kevin.
Which quickly turned awkward because the fact is they're going to be wrestling against each other.
Right, and Cody reached for Kevin's hand, and Kevin grabbed the undisputed title instead. And just basically
gave
him
a partial hug and patted it on the belt on his shoulder.
Gave him back the... It was weird.
It was weird.
Because, But what I like about this matchup for Bash in Berlin is there's respect behind it and a friendly kind of match. Like, it doesn't directly have to be a rivalry of sorts. I like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool, though. Because they're both, they're both indie kind of guys in a way. I mean, obviously, Kevin Owens will take bumps. They're going to do some stuff. I'm actually pretty interested to see that match.
In a mini segment, Solo stared at the Ulafalo, which is the necklace that Roman, now he wears. Tama Tonga puts it on Solo, and Solo says Roman needs to acknowledge him. In a, kind of vignette segment thingy, the Fantasma, Santos told Angel and Berto to not forget who they are, and they should remind everybody else in the locker room what fear is. Again, Santos says that he's going to take LA Knight back to the trailer park where he came from. LA Knight basically responds in front of the whole crowd, and he essentially talks some smack about Santos in reply to the previous segment. And LA Knight confidently says that he will retain the United States Championship next week.
Which is true.
In a segment, Michin gets surprised by Chelsea and Piper Niven. Chelsea says to Michin that they believe Tiffany doesn't care about Nia. And Chelsea says that they were going to attack during the championship celebration, but they decided not to. And Michin says she got a title match against Nia, and then she ended up getting jumped by Nia.
It's actually interesting she actually has a title match.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact a match would make sense, but an actual title match?
Well, I mean, because she has the title match.
I get it, but I mean, it wouldn't be a title match, though, where she can actually win the title. It's just kind of an odd thing.
So this was the main event, assuming because it was the last match of the day. Street Profits versus DIY #1 contender match for the Tag Team Championships, which the Bloodline are currently holding. Trick Williams was at ringside this time.
Incredible.
Nice suplex combo by the Street Profits, I must say. Angelo Dawkins pushed Tommaso Ciampa to Montez Ford for a suplex, which is pretty damn cool. Johnny Gargano missed a kick to break the 3 count. But
the force was enough. He grazed him. It was a grazed, and the graze was enough to break up the count.
It was a good match.
It was a great match.
It was a great match, and Street Profits win. I'm crying.
Which is really good because I mean it was about time. I mean, give them another opportunity. I mean,
love me some DIY, but yeah, it had to happen.
Yeah, it had to. It had to.
They kept losing, and it was kind of some BS.
Yeah, this was a good thing today to see them actually have an opportunity, and I hope.
Don't forget, it's because of BFAB.
That's right. That's right. BFAB is the reason. But they also had the vignette with Bobby Lashley's lightning. So,
dude,
two elements.
Lightning doesn't
two
mean
elements.
anything.
But
that
it was if you
anything.
watch when you watch the Titantron image of Bobby Lashley, it was the same thing. So put those together, it causes a victory today.
They might still be the Pride, although they don't really talk about that
right.
anymore.
Right.
All right, finally, Solo and Tama Tonga head to the ring. He tells Orlando to acknowledge him. Solo tells Orlando to acknowledge him.
A lot of boos echoed.
Yeah, a lot of boos. He tells Roman if he wants the Ula Fala back, he needs to come and get in the ring and take it from him. And Roman comes to the ring. Solo gives the Ula Fala to Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga kind of leaves the ring, but then kind of suddenly shows back up again.
He told him to step away, but jumped in shortly after.
Yeah. People were chanting "F you, Solo."
Fox had to edit that, though.
No, you could hear it. I heard it. Both Roman and Solo attack one another. Tama Tonga jumps Roman, and Roman retaliates. Roman prepares the announce test to drop Tama Tonga on, and Solo saves Tama Tonga. Roman dodges the Samoan spike and gives Solo a Superman punch, followed by a spear. Roman grabs the Ula Fala and puts it on, and that's when Jacob Fatu jumps Roman and pulls him out to ringside for Tama Tonga and Solo to jump him and slam Roman on the announce desk. And Solo puts the Ula Fala back on. All Bloodline members raise their hands over the fallen Roman Reigns. Next week's match cards contains the Bloodline versus the Street Profits for the WWE Tag Team Championships, LA Knight versus Santos Escobar for the United States Championship, and Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, Naomi versus Blair Davenport, and the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. That's for next week. Good shows, I would say. I mean,
Smackdown was good.
A lot of tension for sure. There's a lot more like rivalries and kind of I guess like better heel moments here.
I mean, it's all build up. It's all build up to story. I mean, they're just building storylines.
Like on Raw, for example, you got like the Judgment Day.
Right.
You got Bronson Reed.
Right.
You got like Drew McIntyre and like the Punk thing. Then NXT, you got Wesley with like being.
Yeah, they're just building a lot of long-term storylines. Yeah. That's really what it is. I mean, and it's good because it's like it really kind of makes you want to follow and see what happens next week and see how they go with it. So like, I'm okay. I'm good with that. I enjoy the fact that that's going on. I mean, other than some of the stuff on SmackDown, like I mean, I guess obviously the LA Knight Santos Escobar thing is kind of like.
We
I know they're trying to build that in a way, and again, once again, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill get a championship down the road, which is weird. I mean, I don't know. I'm
gonna rant like a little bit here, but this is the thing that I appreciated more about the Attitude Era, and that kind of just those shows in general. The level of unpredictability. There was some predictability, of course, but there was way more unpredictability when it came to, you thought that your favorite wrestler was going to have a long title reign? No, they're going to lose on a random match on a SmackDown or a Raw.
Exactly.
I want that. Like, that's the thing. Like, dude, LA Knight is highly regarded by people, right? Think about how freaking cool and exhilarating it would be if LA Knight were to just lose this right now.
But
suddenly.
But against Santos Escobar.
That's kind of like just
I mean, I get it, what you're saying, but I mean, obviously,
out of the blue, I just wish there was less predictability.
Yeah,
in that
that's
case.
definitely true.
I mean, of course, we do our own predictions and stuff.
Sure.
We want to be right, but at the same time, I also want to be wrong. A lot
I mean, you kind of want to make it a little.
I want to be surprised.
You want to make a crazy prediction that you can have somebody sit there and say like, what are you smoking crack? That's crazy. Like, but at the same time, it's like. Maybe that's what needs to be done sometimes.
I think it does.
I do too. I agree. I think it's when it's just really it's very obvious what's going to happen just because you kind of look at who's involved. You know that these people are going to win.
Right.
But at the same time, I'd rather see a generic storyline than just a random match that makes no sense.
Right.
I mean, so like, even though we all kind of can sit there and say like, oh, it's a boring storylines can be changed over time, but like a boring match and a match that makes no sense doesn't, that's kind of where some things are going as well.
All right, well, we'll move on to our side notes. Starting with Linda McMahon said that Vince McMahon, former CEO of WWE, this is the wife of Vince McMahon, said that his health has been deteriorating fast, quote unquote, and that he barely gets out much, which is why there hasn't been any recent public appearance amidst the lawsuit of allegations occurring right now. That was what was said kind of in the beginning of this week, but now there's an update with Vince's attorney in the ongoing case right now said that Vince's health is completely fine and we have no idea where the rumor that he had health issues came from, but it's not true. But it is apparent that Linda seemed to have said it to possibly bring sympathy to Vince. I'm not really sure, but the attorneys confirmed that it's not true.
He is 78 years old, though, so the idea that his health, I know he works out. He works out a lot, but at 78 years old, it's still, you can take a turn here and there. It can happen just like that. So I don't know.
Maybe I'm not thinking too much into it, but I just don't see why the attorney would lie in that case if he wasn't doing well.
Because he's the attorney.
Like to help his case, I guess, or what?
Or just to sit there and protect the idea of like what's going on with him and keeping it more private matter, I guess.
I suppose so. But then why would Linda even feel like to share that with people?
But are they even married anymore?
Oh, I don't know.
I think they're divorced.
I'm not really sure, but I think that's kind of strange that they're saying two different things.
After all that stuff came out.
I guess so.
Who knows?
Yeah, I just think it's weird that there's two different things being said about him. Either way, I don't know much about what's going on in that lawsuit. Right. Anyways, next side note, WWE explains that the tag team champions, the Bloodline, it got kind of confusing that there's no set tag team champions, as in the Bloodline had initially won as Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, but since Jacob had been hurt prior, they aired Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga as title holders. It confused some people, but they explained that whomever Solo chooses to defend them is the champions. And likely, if Jacob Fatu returns, he would be the defender over Tonga Loa. I agree. I thought this was kind of weird because Tonga Loa is not the one who won it. Jacob Fatu won it.
I get it, but he was also hurt and was also off TV.
Yeah, but he didn't need to hold it. I don't know.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I just thought that was something I should mention too because I was confused. I was like, yeah, it makes sense because, Jacob Fatu's not there. But at the same time, I'm like, he shouldn't be holding that.
That's true. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. All right. Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega had a little spat on Twitter, which was kind of funny. It was kind of funny because I didn't catch this when I watched this on Raw. But when Liv Morgan and Dominic were confronting Rhea on this week's Raw, the fans were chanting sloppy seconds to Liv, and Liv replied saying, "I'll have Dominic sloppy seconds all day, every day." And Zelina Vega replied saying she wants Dominic sloppy seconds, so she wants Rhea. Liv replied saying, "Girl, you sitting at home making your own vignettes." And then Zelina Vega basically replied saying, "God forbid you give her a live mic, shakes and boots. Thanks for watching." She said other things, but, roasting her, essentially. And Morgan basically replied saying, "I'm the women's world champion. I'm the whole show. I'm sorry you can't relate, but maybe you'd get the mic a little bit more if people in the arena actually cared about a thing you did. But hey, you'll have your Twitter trends always." Which is kind of true.
It's not wrong.
I wish Zelina Vega had more opportunities to wrestle because I do think she's good. I mean,
she is good, and
good
her vignettes are good too. Like
her promos.
Her promos are good.
Her promos are great.
I mean, her promos are good. I mean, she's not like the last one she did with against Liv was actually good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
But I mean, by the end of the day, though, I mean, it's like it's marketability or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would like to see it, but I necessarily don't believe that it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The LWO thing's not going to work.
Oh, definitely not. It's kind of like me.
That's right pretty much whatever happened to that anyways.
All right. The reason why Stephanie it looks like Vaquero, but it's Vaquer, I guess they say it in English. The reason why Stephanie Vaquer hasn't yet debuted on NXT was because she hasn't made the permanent move to Orlando, Florida yet. And for those who don't know, she is a new addition to the WWE roster, having completed matches in AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door collaboration pay-per-view, somehow losing her championship to Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks. I don't know how that happened.
It's just insane.
Absurd. And she performed her first match in the WWE at a Super Show in Mexico City and Monterrey in July of this year. So yeah, she has yet to move and be featured on NXT, which should be pretty interesting. I mean,
that's
I
a
hear
big
she's
pickup.
good.
That's a big pickup. That's going to be really big for NXT.
For sure.
And it's also going to be big for the main roster as well when she gets called up. She won't be there that long. But when she goes up to the main roster, it's going to boost the main roster for sure.
For sure.
She's
I
a really,
agree.
really good wrestler.
Okay. Dominic Mysterio revealed on the Impulsive podcast, Logan Paul's podcast, that his wife is very understanding of his work being separate from his home life completely.
Which she should.
Right. And they had been together since they were 14 years old, and now being 27, they have long years of trust. And the storyline with Liv nor Rhea has affected their marriage, which I would
makes sense.
suspect as much. She would be strong-willed about that.
She understands that it's all a show.
But speaking of Dominic as well, in the same podcast, he revealed in the custody of Dominic Mysterio match at SummerSlam 2005 between Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, there was the original plan for this match. So it was not how it actually turned out in the actual show. He said this quote, "Did you hear what they originally wanted to do to me? They wanted me to hang from a cage at the top of the ring. Not even a cage. They wanted to actually hang me like on a waist thing and have me dangle there." Like I was a Money in the Bank briefcase. What a kid.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon, you crazy, crazy, crazy man. That's insane.
Yeah, what the heck? He was just going to have him hanging there like nothing.
I mean, how old was he at that match?
He was like 7, maybe 8. I don't know.
That's crazy.
He was young. He was really young.
So you're going to hang a 7-year-old out on the rafters, McMahon? Jeez. Good Lord.
I know. You know what? Actually, they did a cage-like thing before with Enzo Amore in there, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
They did that with someone else, too.
I don't remember who. I know Enzo. I think Enzo was in one of those. I don't know why I randomly remember him, maybe. I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, yeah, weird. Not even hanging him from a cage. They just wanted to hang him,
like through his, like on his waist?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. All right, next, during an interview with Adrian Hernandez, I want to give this guy credit because, Stone Cold Steve Austin hinted at his likely appearance at WrestleMania 41, that being in Las Vegas, which he found local enough and even offered to lend Cody a hand if needed, which is crazy. That's making it harder for me to get tickets.
Yeah,
okay?
that's really gonna make it more difficult to buy tickets for this event.
Jeez. Possible versus WrestleMania, and yeah, that's gonna just be so much harder, especially with like already, John Cena saying it's his last WrestleMania.
Probably most likely gonna be wrestling Randy Orton.
Yes. That's at least who most people
that's basically
and myself
what most
want
likely
him
is
to.
going to occur.
Exactly. But yeah, that's going to be much, much harder.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult.
And, I have one other note. I didn't write it here directly, but this is between Tony Khan and Triple H, actually.
Oh, is this about their the contract?
Contract tampering.
Yeah.
Triple H, Tony Khan claims that WWE is tampering with AEW contracts. He believes that the tampering hasn't stopped, quote saying, "I don't think it has. It's still happening. I will reserve all rights when it comes to that, but I don't think that it stopped. I'll leave it at that." Triple H actually trolled this man and put on his Instagram this post basically quoting exactly what Tony Khan had said. And basically was just saying that it has stopped. Or there's like basically no such thing as that even happening kind of thing. I don't know. I didn't read it in full, which is probably why I shouldn't even be saying it at all. But I just think Tony Khan's just such a fool. Like, dude.
I mean, the idea that he gave Buddy Matthews an
so much money.
exponential contract, like an exponential amount of money for his contract, like to stay, is like, it says that, like, obviously he's really trying to keep certain people because he knows that eventually Aleister Black will probably return, or Malachi Black, whichever. But you know,
it's scummy.
It is weird. I mean, but then again, you know,
he's got the money.
He does, but I mean, who knows? It's just an odd thing. I mean, it could just be that they're just sitting there just doing this to get people wild up in the crowd. You know, the tribal like warfare of wrestling right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's weird. But I just look at the Buddy Matthews situation and how he gave him a lot of money, but yet for some reason though he can't keep the Lucha Brothers, dude. You know, I mean, like, you know, you would think that would have been something, but obviously there's some other shit going on with that, to be honest with you.
That's the crazy thing to me, too. I'm just thinking, like, okay, everybody loves money and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Sure.
Everybody loves money. Especially for an easier job at AEW where, like, it's you could just be a casual there because they just bring so many randos every week. And for very random matches with, like, absolutely no build.
There's a lot of matches with no context in AEW.
So it's easy money for these guys, but at the same time, it's just think about for Buddy Matthews, for example. I mean, like, wouldn't you want to be like touring with your wife and being with your wife and stuff like that? I mean, like, she is an essential part of the show, and
it does kind of open up the storyline with like her and Dominic, you know, in that whole situation.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly that storyline that I really wanted to happen.
It could have done something with it,
totally
but
could.
I mean, you know,
it's just
it's odd.
I get it. You want the money, easy money, a lot of money. But it would just be cooler if they were kind of like the Lucha Brothers, who likely got offered a lot and turned it down anyways to make their way.
Offered the same.
Either way, they got offered a lot of money, and I respect the fact that they turned it down to, you know, go to a better place. I would say the WWE is a way better place. Not even just like because of the interaction that they get as opposed to AEW too, or the stardom or the exposure and that kind of stuff. Because I would argue too that WWE also is kind of easy money for some of these people too, because you kind of just put, at least for the people that aren't the main characters that don't have to like cut promos all the time. You do, but not quite as much.
I guess
it
depends on the storyline and what's going on.
It depends on how big you get, too.
Yeah, I mean, and overall, I mean, I think it's like it is. I think a lot of those guys kind of just end up going because, I mean, maybe they just want more of an opportunity. You can build something with somebody, where, you know, AEW is just kind of, it's a very kind of a random organization. Not saying that there's not talent there, because there is, and there's also really good matches. But the thing is like, storylines matter. And I think that's the thing is, like, if you talk to anybody that's like an older wrestler, an old school wrestler fan, storylines matter. And so I look at it that way. I do watch AEW here and there. I do like some of the matches that are going on. But there's also a lot of times where I don't really know who any of those people are.
Exactly.
And I don't know where it's going.
Right.
So, like, I do like a build. And if it's a good storyline, it makes it even better when the match happens. May not be, like, on an indie level, like, high-caliber match, but it's storyline that matters.
Right.
And if you ask anybody, I think that's where kind of a lot of people are align themselves with. Because that's kind of how it always been.
Right, because you connect more with the match and more with the wrestlers.
Storylines matter in a way. They do. They do matter.
Like, it's exactly the reason why I'm so, like, such a fan of, like, for example, DIY. I talk about them all the time. They had such, like, the best storyline in NXT, and that is, if that didn't happen, I really don't think people would resonate with them as much. Even though they are good wrestlers, all of the story between them, the rivalry, the friendship, everything just really led up and built them to be, like, the stars that they are, and it's just really important. Like, that's not to say that AEW doesn't have stories, because they do.
They do.
But it for the majority of, like, these shows that we've seen, it's a lot of random people facing each other, and then just that one story being mentioned. like the night or for a pay-per-view or something like that.
And I think anybody that watches wrestling can agree on the fact that the whole Cody Rhodes and the Roman Reigns thing was actually the finish your storyline was good.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it all, when it happened last WrestleMania, that was pretty awesome. Like, we could all, and I think most people can agree on that.
Yeah.
Because it was, and that was the long game, and that's why Triple H says things about long game and like writing stuff is in a long format, which makes sense. I mean, you know, but I also understand attention spans are not the greatest, and people are going to sit there and they want something that's like fast and, you know, happens right away.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say, for example, the Nia Jax celebration. I mean, the fact that it was all pink, that was my prediction last week. The fact that it was a whole pink celebration just felt like Tiffany Stratton was going to cash in, and the celebration was going to be for her the entire time because it's pink and themed like how she likes it. But, like you said, long game for some reason. But, like I said before, I wish there was a level of unpredictability. Even though I technically predicted that if that were to happen with Tiffany cashing in, technically I predicted it. But that prediction would just shock me enough that it even happened, because I just feel like they just postpone it all the time. And like Damian Priest, for example, cashing in at WrestleMania, I mean, that was just so predictable. He had held that thing for so long. I'm like, it just had to be that moment there, and it was.
I don't think a lot of people really thought that Drew McIntyre was going to beat Seth Rollins the way he did, and freaking and then start sitting there.
Really? I think a lot of people did.
I think it was kind of a shock as fast as that match happened. I mean, the freaking Claymore right at the beginning.
It wasn't that fast. It was constant stomps and claymores.
But I mean, it wasn't something you expected. But yeah.
No, the match itself. Yeah. No. Well, final side note. Afa Anoa'i, one half of the Wild Samoans, had passed away today at age 81.
Rest in peace.
And his brother Sika had previously passed away as recently as of June this year. So. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
You know what? I'm glad that they're back together.
Yeah.
So, that's basically it.
Sad.
It's a sad note, but you know, it was a good week of wrestling, I'd say.
A lot of build up for future and a lot of future stuff going on. So it
feels very anticlimactic, but
it was a very long drawn out week, and hopefully it wasn't like a long drawn out podcast, but obviously there's a lot of things to kind of pinpoint because, you know, storyline. Oh,
actually, tiny little side note. I used to compliment the graphic design for these pay-per-views, but what the heck is happening on the photos for the Bash in Berlin? They look kind of ugly. That's just me. That's just my.
It's not a very important.
It's not important, but it's just being nitpicky. Right. I'm being nitpicky. But yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I didn't stutter too much. I was having a hard time.
There was a lot of information
today.
A lot of information. A lot of information.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.